Hey guys, are you ready to transform your mind so you can transform your life? Coach Mirna brings you one-on-one coaching and expert guests weekly to help you to grow. Because happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy goal.
Looking for personal growth? Let's do it. Are you struggling with excess weight and can't seem to lose it? Introducing the Road Body Program. It provides access to the most popular weight loss shots on the market. The program pairs a weekly shot with healthy lifestyle changes so you can lose 15 to 20% of your weight in a year, on average, and actually keep it off. Go to ro.co/transform. Sign up today and you'll pay just $99 for your first month and $145 a month after that. Medication costs are separate. That's ro.co/transform. As we head into fall, I invite you to shop at quince.com for your fall wardrobe update. Quince offers timeless and high-quality fall clothing I adore. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/Myrna for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. I'm your host, Life Coach Myrna Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Michael Secreta. He is a wealth management specialist. And today, Michael and I are going to be talking on the topic, Transform Your Life Story, Sidestepping the Common Wealth Management Traps. Welcome, Michael.
Great to be here, Myrna.
Yes. I need to know about wealth management and how to find my joy and transforming my life story, because mine is not done yet. So I hope,
absolutely,
hopefully that, both you and I and the listeners and those watching on YouTube and TV will be able to, transform your life story with some of the tips that Michael and I are going to be sharing today. Okay, so let me give you guys a brief introduction. A key premise of Michael's book, Money, Balance, and Joy, is the importance of having an outsider's view and guidance for a fulfilling and rewarding life. Michael Secreta has spent his entire career as an outsider-based change agent for financial professionals and their clients. He has a broad range of success with improving the money, balance, and joy of these professionals. All of his related help efforts are based on acknowledging and sidelining people's destructive emotions and levering their positive emotions. Such help efforts are as much psychology and art as they are hard data. With this book, Mike finally is going back to his career roots, directly helping individuals improve their life stories. To that end, there is an appropriate quote from Jesse Jackson, which he said when running for president. If I walked on water, the press would report Jesse can't swim. I love that. With my book, I'm doing what Jesse did. I'm going directly to you. End of quote. All right. So, Michael, I'm going to dive right in. So why do you think most individuals and financial professionals allow their destructive emotions to cause them to make harmful investment and life decisions? And I'm thinking that one of the ones that we're going to talk about is fear. Is that one of the destructive emotions that you're talking about?
Certainly. Yeah, it's like with life. You look at life, you look at total, what we're talking about here is with money, balance, joy is total wealth. So that's your monetary wealth, your time wealth, and your social wealth. And that holistic view. So it's really about like what you do with life coaching. It's, so much with you is the mindset, right?
Right.
And you want to help people have that right mindset. And if they don't have the right mindset, they're going to struggle. They're going to fall for problems. And worse yet, they're not going to be able to kind of benefit from their personal crises. Rahm Emanuel said, never let, when he was chief of staff in the Obama White House, he said, never let a serious crisis go to waste. And everyone took that as, oh, it's political. And it wasn't, because Winston Churchill said the same thing. Having that mindset, that perception, if you will, that, yeah, there's a lot of things I'm doing wrong. There's a lot of things that are completely beyond my control and causing problems, either monetarily, either with my free time or work-life balance, or really with my happiness. And the key thing that so many individuals, much less clients of advisors and advisors themselves, don't have that proper mindset. So they're constantly looking for kind of that formula, that magic app that's going to help them. And they, the biggest problem is they don't understand. And I know you talk about this a lot, about emotions and trying to set that aside, if you will, and look at the logic. It's the same thing here with the industry and with individuals, is that we, basically make up our mind based on our gut or our heart or our emotions. And then we cherry pick the good facts that support it, or data, that's the big term now. And then we completely toss out and ignore all the facts that run counter to it, that would completely knock it out. And so that's what we have with the industry, so that, lessons aren't learned. They just keep making the same mistakes. And the financial services industry, or what I call the financial industrial complex, they don't want to admit that they're human. And they go around, they tell everyone who would listen, and even those who don't want to listen, that, oh, I'm brilliant. I have an Ivy League degree. I have my master's. From MIT. I know everything there is to know. Well, if they did, they would know this shortcoming. So they keep repeating mistakes.
Okay. All right. So yes, we all know that. I love what you said about not wasting a good crisis. I've never heard it put like that before, but I do talk a lot about, we're here to learn life lessons, right? And each lesson teaches us something. And if you don't learn the lesson, the God, the universe, whoever you believe in, will keep presenting it to you. So I understand that part. But let's explore the destructive emotions that help to make people. Let's bring it back to the financial sector for a minute, in wealth management. So what kind of destructive emotions do, investors and the people that help them invest make that would make them not be happy? So if I were to break it down, and I'm going ahead now, I'm thinking, okay, they're making decisions based on they want to be rich because they think rich is going to make them happy, right? But then we have 2008 or something, or the Dow or whatever, and it crashes and they lose their money. Break that down for me and those who are listening to understand what's going on there.
Sure. Let's look at some of the key ways people stumble that because of their emotions. So the first is, as a whole, this includes the industry, we tend to buy high and sell low. And so you have a long bull market, and people confuse a long bull market for their intelligence and their brains. And they're like, oh, wow, we just had a year where returns are 25%, but I was only 24%, and totally silly. And so, I want to sell some of those lower performing investments and buy more of those higher performing investments. But what they should be doing is kind of doing card counting, if you will. So you're at the casino, and let's pretend they allow you to do card counting. Now, card counting is not illegal.
You're no Rain Man. I thought only Rain Man could do that.
Yeah. So Rain Man. So what is card counting? Now, card counting isn't, all of a sudden now I'm going to win blackjack, 90% of the time. No, it's I'm going to go from winning probably 45 to maybe 55% of the time. So if I'm counting the cards, I know how many of the high cards are out already that have been used up. And so I could quickly calculate, if I am Rain Man, which I'm not, the odds, and decide whether to hold or whether to take a hit, take a card. It's the same thing with the stock market. If you're at all-time highs, you have a greater chance of the market declining or correcting than you do of going up, say, another 20%, 10 or 20%. And so, but people don't think that. And, the Wall Street people get all excited. The investors get all excited. And in my book, I have all this stuff, the data behind this. This is not theory. This is backed by data. And so what happens is they extend their risk, with their investments. And then all of a sudden the market goes down. And so they go from, I'm the king of the world, to it's the end of the world. And so, and that could be as little as a 10% decline. And then all of a sudden now, people, I have to sell. Professionals, I have to sell. And the data shows this. And so what they did is they locked in their losses. And if they immediately went back in, you could say, after the market, kind of took its pounding, you would say, oh, okay, that's a good thing to do. But people don't do that. Professionals don't do that. What happens is they wait until there's all these signs that it's not what we call a dead cat bounce. And, Wall Street has dark humor. You go to a tall building, drop a dead cat, it's going to bounce once it hits the ground. So it's kind of the same concept. Stock goes down, it's going to bounce a little bit.
Okay, right.
Went down. So now all of a sudden people, they're afraid, it's a dead cat bounce. So typically what happens is there's like a 6-month lag between when people feel that, between when the market's starting to recover and when people actually believe it. And so say they, bought a stock at 20, they sold it at 18 and not 18, say they sold it at 13, and the stock now is at 20, and they're like, okay, I'll go back in. Mm-hmm. And they missed that big gain. Remember that the percent, to go from 15 to 20, 20 to 15 is a smaller percent drop than going from 15 to 20. So it's, they kind of don't do the math. They don't do the card counting. So that's, and it's so common sense. And the professionals always say, we learn, after, the Great Recession, we learned from that. We're not going to repeat ourselves. And sure enough, they repeat themselves because they convince, the greatest line with everything when you don't want reality to get in the way of a good idea is to say, well, this time it's different.
Yeah.
And so that's what these professionals will say. And then the poor clients are very upset.
Are you struggling with excess weight and can't seem to lose it? For the past 20 years, that has been me. I was finally prescribed the GLP-1 weight loss shots about 2 months ago. It has been amazing. The first week, I lost 6 pounds. And since then, I've been losing about 1 pound a week. I have always worked out 6 days a week, and I still had a problem losing the weight. The only change I made was to cut down on my fat intake and take the weight loss shots. Introducing the Raw Body Program. It provides access to the most popular weight loss shots on the market. The program pairs a weekly shot with healthy lifestyle changes. You can lose 15 to 20% of your weight in a year on average and actually keep it off. Over 200,000 people have already chosen Row to help them lose weight. Row Body Program members have support throughout the process. If you have insurance, Row's partners handles all the insurance paperwork to help you get your medication covered. You can sign up online from the comfort of your own home. Go to row.co/transform. Sign up today and you pay just $99 for your first month and $145 a month after that. Medication costs are separate. That website again is ro.co/transform. As we head into fall, I need to change my wardrobe from bright colors to fall colors. Luckily for me, Quince offered timeless and high-quality fall clothing I adore, ensuring my wardrobe stays fresh and seasonal. Like the gray cashmere tee I just purchased for $49, 50% off the regular price, or the black organic cotton maxi dress for just $69. All of Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. I love that. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/Myrna for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/MYRNA to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Myrna. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Do you schedule time for self-care? Or is it something you do when you have time for it? Is it a non-negotiable? Self-care for me is a non-negotiable. My self-care routine includes morning walks in nature or time at the gym. But sometimes our schedules are packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more. It's easy to let our priorities like self-care slip. Making time for therapy is a form of self-care. But even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. When you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma, etc. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/TYM today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/TYM. So yes, that is, that's pretty hard emotions. Just this morning, my husband and I were talking about gambling at the casino. I was telling him that my first experience with gambling, I lost money the first day, like $600 or something. And it bothered me so much that I went back the second day trying to win it back. And then I lost that again too. And because I don't like the feeling of losing my money, I've never become a gambler. So, and it's the same way in the stock market. I hate to lose money. So I probably have this destructive emotions that, I'm very sensitive to the risk, right? And just me right now, I have some money in a fund that every time they send me a statement, it's the same money. Yes. It's not going anywhere.
And so here's what happened.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So in my book, I go after everyone, including regulators. And so here's what's happened in the wealth management business. So it's, we had these people who, the advisors put them in, they have too high of a risk profile in their investments. And, that when the market does have a correction, it's, the clients, have all these emotional problems, not being able to sleep at night, not being able to retire, whatever that might be. And so the regulator is okay because they want to check the box, get it off their desk. So, all right. So now the advisors have to give this risk tolerance survey to their clients. And then, it's like, it's basically three things: conservative, moderate, or aggressive. So the person comes up conservative. So, okay, so now I got to just invest your money in a conservative way. Or let's just say it's aggressive. And so, okay, now, with the aggressive, some advisors say, Hank's an aggressive investor and the market going down 10% isn't going to upset him. And there's a big difference between a little survey to fill out and reality.
Yeah.
So, you end up with those people that, get upset, and the industry as a whole, they don't like focusing on people's emotions. They don't like that. That's, they didn't become financial advisors. I've had advisors yell at me for my whole holistic approach. And that's how I knew I was on the right track. But they would say, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not qualified to help people with their emotions. And, tell me any kind of job where you're interacting with people that you're not dealing with their emotions, that you're not dealing, with kind of real rudimentary psychology behind it. So what happens? So I said the aggressive part. So now let's look at the conservative. Well, they'll keep that person conservative, and they won't try to help that person become more aggressive, be more comfortable with volatility. And what happens is they pay a comfort tax, those clients. And it's a huge difference. And I have a study, so I'm not going to just throw numbers out there, but it is substantial over a 30-year period per year, how much more an aggressive makes over a conservative, and how much more a moderate makes more than a conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And
the conservative is bad. Like me, I tell you that mine stays exactly the same. I'm not sure. I'm supposed to have a balanced fund, but it's obviously not balanced because doesn't go anywhere.
So when I thought of this recently, that the whole financial industry, including financial industrial complex, the financial advisors, and even the financial media, they take this Star Trek / anthropological approach, where the prime directive is not to interfere. Yeah, just observe. And so it's this is what's happening right now. You have these advisors. Oh, don't want to interfere. No, don't want to do this. Why? Because they're not used to doing it. They're not trained to do it. They're not comfortable with it. And quite frankly, for some of them, they just will never have it within them to do it. Now, you brought up something when we started talking about God. And here's the key thing that is missed by most of the industry and most investors, and that is to invest according to your faith or according to your values. And tremendous advantage for overcoming the emotions, because now when the market goes up, I'm not going to get greedy with this, jumble of investments. If the market goes down, I'm not going to, and again, there's studies on this. If the market goes down, I'm not going to get as upset. Why? Because if I invest according to my faith or according to my beliefs, my values rather, my investments become an extension of me. And so it's like how you act with your kids versus other people's kids.
Right.
You're much more accepting. So there's plenty of faith-based investments. There's plenty of socially responsible or green type investments. And, it's, you name the religion, there's, investment programs for it. And so if, you try bringing this up to some really, big people in the financial industrial complex, they'll shut you down. Oh, you're excluding stocks, so you're going to cause lower returns because you're not going to have the sin stocks. You're not going to. You talk about casinos. Not going to have these type of stocks that do well. And then again, in my book, a study I did showed that you don't miss out that much, and that you get there's plenty of studies on this, whether it's faith-based or whether it's values-based. You get plenty, you're the same, if not better. And so, but where you really make much, much more money is you're not having the comfort tax. You're not buying high, selling low. Now, those two things are tremendous. No investor on the planet legally can consistently get those kinds of returns just by picking stocks. So this is, and again, this is something that, the whole industry is just not comfortable with. But everyone's missing out because of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a big topic. It's a big topic. Like they said, they're not psychologists, and you can't deal with everybody's emotions because there's so many of the different emotions. And, when you're dealing, but I like what you said, that, you can't really become wealthy or rich or whatever word we want to use by just being comfortable. You got to take some risks. You got to pick some stocks, and you're saying that it works out if you're aggressive. It works out over a period of time that you'll make much more money. So that's good. I
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely. And
Yes.
yeah, just another thought on something you had said earlier. The whole, we talk about myths people have, or the perceptions or the mindset not being right. There's the mindset that, oh, if I just work really hard and set aside everything, I'm going to make lots of money. And as the old saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, certainly was in The Shining on the typewriter. But the thing is, all work and no play also makes Jack not as successful. And there's a great book I read recently called Range, and it talks about, you look at these billionaires, you look at these multimillionaires, and they play instruments. They they have a band. They do sculpture. They do painting. They do acting. In local theater or what have you. And it's having that time, that balance, and having that joy actually helps you make more money. So each of those three aren't in conflict. They actually help each other. And the trick is to have the right balance among those three.
Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. Usually, improvements don't come overnight, but once in a while, one small fix can catapult you to the next level. If your commerce platform is holding your business back, you owe it to yourself to see what Shopify can do for you. Whether you're a garage entrepreneur or IPO ready, Shopify is the only tool you need to start, run, and grow your business without the struggle. Shopify puts you in control of every sales channel. So whether you're selling satin sheets from Shopify's in-person POS system or offering organic olive oil on Shopify's all-in-one e-commerce platform, you're covered. And once you've reached your audience, Shopify has the internet's best converting checkout to help you turn them from browsers to buyers. Sign up for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/transform, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/transform to take your business to the next level today.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me because yes, if you're having a balanced life, then your emotions as far as the ups and downs and the financial if you're in your bank account is not going to hit you as hard. But if you're only concentrating on that, and that's all you live for, then your emotions are going to be much more toxic, whether it be joy or whether it be sadness.
Yeah, you're not going to think as well.
Right.
You're not going to, the kind of, when we talk about never let a crisis go to waste, there's, the 3 Eves, I call it, how you perceive things, how you receive things, and how you conceive things. And so when you're doing all these other things besides just work, the old saying, seeing the forest through the trees, when we work too hard, we're not seeing the forest. We're not seeing the grades and the scope. We're not seeing what's outside the forest, and we're missing on all these opportunities that we can seize, whether it's a different company where we don't have what's called the loyalty tax, where you stay at the same company and your salary doesn't keep up with the new hires. But it's again, the mindset is so important, and it's it's an inch, it's a muscle, if you will. And you get, what do you have to do with the muscle? You have to exercise it. You have to feed it.
Exercise it. Yes.
And, and have that training, and have, when you're at the gym, you're having, a spotter, you're having a trainer say, well, okay, make this adjustment, that adjustment. I mean, what you do as a life coach is you're giving people ideas, you're giving people, getting them to come to have the right perceptions, you're giving them processes, and you're giving them feedback and accountability with that. And that's what I set out to do with this holistic approach, is to do the same thing. And it creates such a bond with the right kind of advisors and their clients. They become best friends. And it's it's wonderful to see. And it's, that was kind of the challenge of my book, talking to people who wrote bestsellers, and they're like, yeah, I don't think people really read my book. And I was like, okay, I don't want a book just to sell it. I want a book that's actually going to change people. And, otherwise it's just entertainment. And I could, if it's just entertainment, I could think of a lot more enjoyable things to write. So, and fun. But anyway, so writing it where it's short enough that people aren't going to be overwhelmed, writing it with humor, with, not taking myself so seriously, the needs of people, that's serious, but I'm not this, I'm so smart, like all the people on Wall Street say every day. So you want to have it short, you want to have humor, and you want to have exercises to, again, get people to have those aha moments. And, just talking about it or just reading it is not going to get someone to think differently. Just like with you, with your life coaching. And so, so having those exercises, this is not a do-it-yourself book, but to have those exercises so that people are prepared and very willing to have that kind of holistic advisor working with them. And they know how to do that, because let's face it, most people have no clue what a financial advisor does.
Right. So let's look at some specifics.
Yeah.
So what are some of the common wealth management traps that you talk about in your book, or you want?
Yeah. So what we talked about: buying high, selling low. There's all this behavioral finance that I tend to avoid because people's eyes glaze over when I give the definitions. But it's the traps is the loyalty, where you're staying with an advisor because you like them, but they're really not helping you. You're too conservative, or they're just really not helping you sleep at night, or helping you be, accomplish your balance and your joy in your life. Again, buying high, selling low, the comfort tax. Another one is where people have their financial advisors also act as their portfolio managers. And that's a big one. And you get that from fiduciary advisors. You see commercials, I'm a fiduciary advisor. And all fiduciary, the only standard for fiduciary advisor is that they can't get commissions. Obviously they have to take the same tests in terms of securities and the law and all that. But so you'll have these advisors who really don't know their value. So they think their value is to be the portfolio manager. Now, can that advisor be on the same side of the fence as their clients if they're managing the money?
Okay, well, I'm lost here. So
Yeah.
what's the difference between a fiduciary and a portfolio manager? Because, I don't have any of those.
So a wealth manager, most wealth managers or financial advisors do not pick the stocks, do not pick, do not pick the stocks. So they'll use outside portfolio managers, whether it's through ETFs, it's through mutual funds, or whether they're just individual stock portfolio managers that are out there. Some financial advisors also act as that portfolio manager. So,
And you're saying that that's a conflict of interest of some sort, that they shouldn't be?
well, yeah, I create this client appreciation event for a bunch of financial advisors, and trying to explain all these concepts that were in the book. And so, the advisor said, okay, who in the room has an advisor who also acts as a portfolio manager? And, you'll see whatever, 10, 20% raise their hands. He said, so, okay, so now if your advisor is also the portfolio manager, all of a sudden isn't performing as well, it's like, performing pretty poorly, because there is a huge range, and I have that in the book in terms of performance among portfolio managers. They're going to call you up and fire themselves, right? Everyone laughs. And then there's a pause. And it's what I call the, oh no, look on their face. Like, yeah, he's not on my side of the fence. She's not on my side of the fence. And so it kind of defeats, I have a chapter in my book, the fiduciary traps. And I go into this, that just because someone used the fiduciary term, they may not be putting themselves first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not putting you first, rather.
Right. Okay. I got you. So actually, that's pretty good to know. That might be some, a nugget for someone that's listening, that their portfolio manager is also the person that their fiduciary manager or something. So that's amazing. All right.
Yes.
Let's get to our topic, is transforming your life story by understanding that the joy is your greatest form of wealth, which is basically why you write the book. So what is the mindset shift that we need to have, that joy is your greatest form of wealth instead of what's in your bank account?
I've yet to find somebody who consciously or unconsciously didn't value joy or their social wealth over everything else. And now, I said unconsciously. So a lot of people will, typically, they work through their 20s, they're putting in crazy hours. They want to get that promotion at the law firm, become partner or whatever it might be. And then, they hit a certain age, whether it's, 40 or, the mid 30s. And it's like, there's got to be more to life than this. Mm-hmm. And so, it's very simple. What I've done over the years is, when you meet somebody, hey, what do you do for fun? And you'll know instantly whether you are talking to somebody who is satisfying that need. I mean, why else are we on this earth? When you think about it, it's to have a meaningful life, an enjoyable life. It's to help others, help them have fulfilling and meaningful lives. And if you're able to do that, you'll never worry about, putting a roof over your head or feeding yourself and your family. And so that kind of joy part, and some people will drink too much because they'll take drugs because they don't have that joy. They'll do some real dangerous sports and activities because of that. And so all I try to do is get them to see it, that that is a driving force. And once they see it, again, that mindset change, the light bulb goes off. And then when they realize, no, if I work less but smarter, I could still make the same money if if not more. And so now all of a sudden, to start doing things. So what do? You volunteer. So this week, last night, including, you talk about casinos, my church, we have this festival every year. We have a casino. So I volunteered to be the one of the blackjack dealers. And speaking of which, I now know much better how to play blackjack.
Interesting that I talk about casinos, right?
Yeah, I used to lose blackjack every time. I didn't know the opportunities I had, when to double, when to split, and to take advantage of opportunities, and when to just give up because it's, not good. Right. And so it's just kind of funny with the volunteer work, but greatest people, the other volunteers, having conversations with them, just wonderful people, salt of the earth, who may not be the smartest people, the wealthiest people, but they do pretty good. they do quite well, and they have these balanced lives. And I was very fortunate as a child, so I don't have, they say, people have overcome their childhood or something like that. I was not one of those kids. I did have a couple near-death experiences at a young age, which I think changed my view of the world and what I wanted out of it. But lived in the wealthiest part of our town. We had a beach club. And I remember, lots of weekends sitting around with my father and other business people that belonged to the beach club. We had a soap opera star that was a member. It was that kind of club. And I would hear their stories. I would hear them, about the focus as much on family and vacations and other interests, collecting or playing an instrument, whatever, as their business and their volunteer work, their church, involvement. And so it was a great example for me to see, kind of that benevolence, that kind of Zen-like way of being, of, being calm, of, great self-awareness, great benevolence, great, again, calm analytical ability. And they were all very happy and they, stayed married. They didn't get divorced. They didn't get in trouble with the law. They didn't, so.
That's the difference between lifestyles. I mean, someone that's growing up in the projects would have a different experience. And someone that's grown up in the projects, they basically, all they know is to work to survive. So they're not looking for joy. They're looking for work to just pay the bills. And one of the things that investments gives to someone like that is the opportunity to build wealth as well. But yeah, I mean, it's great that you had that background and you had that experience. And I can tell that you're still Zen. I mean, I could pick it up. Whatever you're doing, you have the joy and you have the peace. So it comes from maybe never having to worry, where your next meal is going to come from and how are you going to, pay the rent this month. So it's a different, we all have different lifestyles and, different start in life. But I like where this message is. The message is that we all know that they say that, wealth doesn't bring happiness. In fact, most people that are wealthy are miserable. So I'm glad the message that we're coming across here with today is that, the joy is maybe the top wealth, right? And as you were talking, I remember a movie that I saw that is resonated with me. And it's a movie about happiness, happiness and joy, they're interchangeable. And the movie showed some very, very poor people in India that made like $600 a year or something. And they're happy. And they're happy because of what you just said. They have family. Maybe they can go to the beach. Maybe, whatever. They're happy that they have a roof over their head, even though they're sleeping on rocks with no bed. So yes, it is the mindset and how you think. And there's some people that cannot be happy unless they're a billionaire. They're not even happy now of being a millionaire. Everybody wants to be a billionaire or a multi-millionaire. So this is a great message because, again, when we talk about a mindset, I'm talking about consciousness, that once you bring something to your awareness, you can never go back, because maybe you thought all the time that if you're wealthy and you can count the zeros in your bank account, that's going to bring you joy. But we're saying that a simple question like, what do you do for fun? That is great, because I will tell you, there's not a lot of people do a lot of things for fun. They work and come home and then there's no fun. There's no joy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and their inability to answer it.
Yes.
If they're, even the littlest bit of intelligence that they have it, you'll need to follow up that question, and they're gonna be like, "Oh crap!" And it's funny. My fiance, she asked a good friend of hers, very wealthy consultant to corporations, and she went to college with her, and so a bunch of the college friends had gotten together, and that's what Diane asked. I won't mention the person's first name, and she, I think, followed up like a week later. It's like, your question has gotten me so focused now on rethinking how I'm living my life, and this is a saying, hey, a mistake isn't a mistake unless you don't learn from it. It's, the best mistake is when somebody else makes that mistake and you learn from it.
Learn from it.
And it's kind of the same thing with the good things about wealth and the bad things about wealth. So that, so for example, my mother grew up very, very poor and outside Pittsburgh, and she, very smart, fortunately for her, and she, what'd she do? She got a job as a nanny, au pair, whatever they call them, for, a wealthy family in Pittsburgh. And so she got exposed to that. She saw, and she was, very much with the family. So she saw the struggles for time. She saw, even though they had all the money that monetary wealth wasn't an issue, but she saw the time wealth and the joy and the social wealth issues that came about. And you look at athletes, you look at entertainers that came from really bad backgrounds, and they, all of a sudden you start seeing them in, having, charities, having,
Right.
Capitol Hill testifying about something. And it's as much for them as for the people they're trying to help. And it's kind of that selflessness and giving with it. And again, learning from others. A friend of mine used to be an NBA coach, head coach for an NBA team. And every time they had the rookies come in, they had a financial expert sit down with them and say, okay, here's all these mistakes other rookies have made.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden they get that, whatever bonus check, and all of a sudden they're making all this money. And so, and he followed that
Well, that's really good, because a lot of them blow it, especially because nobody's ever sat down and taught them anything but wealth management. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they're doing that. I think a lot of teams are doing that now because, yes, they go out and buy 20 cars and blow it with their friends and all that. So I'm glad that they're doing that now, because that is very, very important.
Yeah, that buy their mother, parents, whoever, a house. And not saying not to do that, but, go from, rundown apartment, one-room apartment to $1 million house. Maybe not. Maybe
Right. Yes.
for now.
Even the parents can't handle it.
Yeah, have them.
It's just like they say that, there's a terrible statistic that shows that people that win lotteries, they're broke in like 5 years because they don't know how to handle it. So.
Yeah, they spend it all. They forget about taxes. They have all these people that, somebody went
out their hand,
lottery,
ask them for money. Yeah, listen, you're tapping into a great market here as far as teaching people wealth management skills, how to, have a emotion, not rule how you make your decisions and things like that. So yeah, it is something it's very well needed. So yeah. All right. So let's talk about your book now. It's called Money Balance Joy, Improving Your Life Story. So what made you decide to write the book, and what do you want readers to walk away with after reading?
Sure. First, I was writing a book for financial advisors. So with my different programs, all the stuff's in the book I've been doing for over 30 years now. So with all that effort, I figured I've helped at the very least over 10,000 people. And I looked at it as like, I'm not, am I proud of it? Yeah. But I'm not comfortable with that. I want to go over 1 million now. I really want to help as many people as possible while I'm on the earth. And so since I work a lot with financial advisors, helping them, I said, I'll write a book for them. And I was about halfway through, and I threw it out. And I was like, no, let me go to the people. Again, what we were talking about earlier, like Jesse Jackson.
Jesse Jackson, yes.
Let me go direct, because they're going to be like that, Jesse can't swim headline, the financial advisors, Michael can't swim, rather than, oh, Eureka, this is brilliant. So I was like, no, let me go to the people out there with something that is so intuitive once they hear it, such common sense that, with all these dinners I told you about, the reaction is always the same. I wish I knew this earlier. how come this is never told to me? And so I was like, okay, so let me tell it to people. And again, deliver it in a way that they're going to actually read it and actually do something with it. And the title, everything is, the power of threes, religion, at least Catholics, Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. Everything is kind of three. We have three basic industries of the world: is extraction, manufacturing, and service. So everything's like three. So it's like, okay, money, balance, joy. And then what does everyone want? Everyone wants to have a great life story. And if they don't have a great life story, they want to improve it, so that they have that life story again, to feel like they did something in the world, in life. And I'm not talking about grandiose things. I'm not talking about owning a company or being worth a fortune. I'm talking about what you were saying, that family in India making $600 a year or whatever, still having a great life and, wonderful family and doing all that. So so that's what I'm talking about, with it. And it's the response has been great. It's funny. I gave the book to a bunch of people who are members of the financial industrial complex I know, and I thought they would just like hate me. And to a person, they came back, it's like, wow, this is so true. This has always bothered me, that people don't do things this way. And this is brilliant. This is, funny. And then the individuals, they love the humor. They love the guidance. Again, how intuitive it is. Yes, there's data behind it if anyone really cares to look at it. But it's just so much common sense. And you think about, I think it was Einstein that said, that, if you, not saying I'm a genius, but true genius to be able to take complex concepts and explain them in simple ways that everyone would understand. And so that's what I set out to do. I left out the jargon. I left out the behavioral finance tutorial, and it's the greatest thing when I talk to somebody and they say, loved your book, and a buddy of mine was feeling down, so I got him a copy. And or somebody's struggling, so I got him a copy because it really helped me, and I think it's going to help them. And that's like giving me $1 million.
Yeah. Simplicity. What do you do for fun? Where's the joy in your life? Is it coming from money? Is it coming from experiences? Is it coming from your family? Is it coming from service? Where is it coming from? So, like I said, I'm in the consciousness space, and I know that a lot of times we're like, we're just spinning our wheels, and we're not really thinking about what we're doing. But when someone brings some information to us and our brain is expanded, then it can never go back to its original form. And that's why your fiance, when she asked that girl the question, maybe she never even thought about it. But when she thought about it, then she recognized she doesn't do it for fun. Not everyone gets it, because, I know a lot of people that have no fun in their lives. They just go to work and come home. So, and even the wealthy people, they work all the time and they don't have any fun, because running a $1 billion business is a lot of work. And then all you do is worry about the problems that comes with that. So, you're in at the bottom, have the same problems. Yeah. So it's kind of good to just bring this to their attention.
Yeah. So much of, pop culture, if you will, movies, TV shows, if someone's wealthy, they're evil. And, somebody is suffering because of that, what that wealthy person's doing. And, kind of that whole, again, faith-based or values-based approach, you can have both sides, if you will, win. You can have a successful business that is good for its staff, good to its community, good to the planet, and having that positive impact while the the head people are making lots and lots of money. It's not either or, and many people think it is in life. And again, adjusting their mindset so that they know, no, I could have all three.
Yes, you definitely can, for sure. All right. Yes, Michael, this has been a great conversation, and
I enjoy
what we want to do here is transform your mind, and that's what we're doing today. We're transforming our mind on wealth and and joy. So tell our listeners where they can pick up a copy of your book. We all know it's on Amazon. Give us your website and your social media handle. You told me you're on Instagram, so that anybody can follow you.
Yeah, mostly do stuff. I do probably 3 or more postings a day on Instagram, and nice. Just again, lots of advice. It's not kooky videos of cats or me doing backflips off a roof of the garage or something like that you see on all these places to get people's attention. It's real quality content to guide people on a daily basis. And again, I love when someone will write a comment to me with a posting like, I really needed to hear this today. And, this really helped me with a problem. And again, that just is worth so much to me. So my Instagram is Secreta M, with the last name like Secreta. It's easy. I don't have to make up a lot. There's not too many of us. So SAKRAIDAM. My website is simple enough, moneybalancejoy.com. And there's a link there to read about the book and to buy it on Amazon. There's an ebook version that's super cheap, and there's a paperback. If you're going to do the exercises, I recommend getting the paperback, but you could still print out the exercises with the ebook.
Awesome. All right. So I will have a transcript of my conversation with Michael on the show page, which is myhelps.us. I will link out to his book and link out to his website and also his Instagram so that you guys can follow him. I know we just talked about, some of the emotions and some of the wealth management traps, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot more that you can learn on, how to bring money, joy, and balance into your life, and tapping wealth as well in that process. Absolutely. So
one last thought. In my book, I give my email address and tell people, hey, if you have any questions, challenges, just send me an email. Same thing with your audience. They don't have to buy the book for that. So it's real simple. It's Mike.S as in Secreta, at moneybalancejoy.com. So Mike.S at moneybalancejoy.com. So anybody wants to send me a question, challenge that they have, whatever, would love to hear from you.
Amazing. All right. So I'll add that to the show notes as well. All right, Michael. So thank you very much for our conversation today. Thank you very much for expanding our minds on this topic. As we wrap up, any last words?
I just want to thank you. Had a great time. Love the Zen-like approach you have too. And just want to thank you for all the work you do with your life coaching and with these interviews, these podcasts. You're really helping a lot of people. That's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Yes, I consider it my ministry to help transform people's minds so that they can transform their lives. And there's so many things that we can transform our minds about. Our minds are so powerful. So that's what I do. So thank you very much for for acknowledging that. I appreciate it. It gives me joy. Right. It gives me joy. So, thanks again, Michael, for being on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Definitely go pick up a copy of Michael's book. It is called Money, Balance, Joy. And what is the money? Right. Improving your life story. Yes. So that's great. And of course, I'll link out to it. Thanks again for tuning in. Thank you, Michael, for being on the show. Until next time, namaste.